Hello and welcome to another episode of the Grumpy Cyclist Talks Music. As you know, it's about me being just nosy, really, talking to people with various walks of life, what music means to them. And I've got a special guest for this episode. I've got my father here. Hello, Dad, how are you?
I'm all right, son. Nice
Good.
to be part of your podcast.
Oh, thank God. I really appreciate your time doing it. Well, I always go for the first question. What does music mean to you?
Well, in the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, it meant quite a lot to me. But nowadays, I really don't like the genre that's on, all this rap music. And when you hear people on TV go about Harry Styles and One Direction, I wouldn't have a clue. But I was brought up in the 60s and 70s,
Yeah.
so that's my type of music. Some songs do remind me of certain events in life and
Yeah.
people in life that I've met. But other than that, yeah, overall, I do like music and not
You
just
do,
a
yeah.
genre, the whole shebangle.
Yes, I mean, obviously, obviously, I grew up with you, obviously, and music was very much, I thought, was part of your life. We had my memories of my music, my childhood. I mean, this is not about me, but it's about, what to you is, you was into like the kind of, not the prog rock things, but my memories was like you were into Fleetwood Mac, and you were a big
Ooh,
fan
yeah.
of the Police.
Oh, yeah, the Police in the
So,
80s, absolutely
so
brilliant.
why the Police? How did you get into the Police?
Yeah,
Why the Police of all the bands? I mean, they were a great band. They were a big
yeah.
band in their day, but my memories, you really were a big Police fan.
Rich, it's a difficult one to answer that. Um, I like the lyrics of a lot of them.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
Sting's voice to me is
Mm.
outstanding.
Which is true. Yes,
Yeah,
he's got his own unique voice, hasn't he? To
yeah,
be fair, yeah.
and they just performed
Mm.
music that I liked. Some of it was a bit weird,
Mm.
But I mean, who goes walking on the moon? Yeah, but that song to me was quite good. I thought.
Yeah. Going back to your music in the 60s and 70s and
Oh yeah,
80s, I mean, when you was a child,
yeah.
was you into music then? Would you like into radio? Is it Carolina?
Oh,
Was that?
Birmingham! I've got memories of me being when I was
Yeah.
a young kid in Birmingham.
Well, please enlighten. That we'd love to hear.
Well, if you give me the chance, I will. Um, we were a poor family. I know, get the violins out, blah 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 blah. But I managed. My mum and stepdad bought me a radio,
Right. Okay.
and when we lived in Victoria Road in Birmingham, you're talking now early 60s, mid 60s. Bearing in mind that I'm 74 in a few months' time,
Yeah. Yeah.
I listened to Radio Luxembourg,
Right.
and to me, it just played music. It's
Yeah.
the only music we had in the house. We didn't have a record player at the time,
Mm.
and obviously didn't have a radio. But to me, Radio Luxembourg, it could keep up with things. And gradually that it went on to, like, I remember one of your guests before, Rowley, and he was on about when they used to get the old tape recorder out and Top of the Pops. It was Sunday afternoon. I used to listen for Alan Freeman.
Oh,
And he used
Fluff
to,
Freeman.
yeah, Fluff
Yeah.
Freeman.
Yeah.
And he used to go, "Hello, pop pickers," and give us all that malarkey.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you had to put the cassette in, and then you had to wait until the end of the record and stop it,
Mm.
and then you could play back the music then, because in those days we couldn't afford it.
Yeah. Well, no,
couldn't
that's
afford
the
it.
reality of
Until
your
I got
life
my
then.
job,
Yeah.
and then I started buying things, buying various groups and all that sort of thing. But to me, 60s was sex, drugs, rock and roll. So I was brought up in that era.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Before I joined the army in
Yeah.
'69. So I was into groups like Jethro Tull.
I was going to say to you, what was your
Oh yeah,
band influence at the time? Who you
Jethro
listened to?
Tull, Free, but they were more at the end of the '60s, beginning of the '70s, through the '70s. Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
And of course, my part of my favourite group of all time is Cream.
Well, I was going to come on to Cream and that because obviously we've got to talk about him. I mean, I know again you like your music a lot.
And who's this you want me to talk about?
And I know you are. I know you kind of idolise him to a degree. You're a massive fan, have been for decades, even up to now, which I believe you're going to see this wonderful chap in a few months' time. Is the one and only Eric Clapton. King Eric. What was it about Eric Clapton that you thought, this is someone I really like, and was it just him, or was it the way his guitar is, or what Eric Clapton? Explain Eric Clapton means to you. Why Eric Clapton of all people?
I used to like music from a group called the Yardbirds.
Yeah, yeah.
And I used to watch when we got the TV out and everything else, we got the Top of the Pops and all that sort of thing. And then he moved on to Cream, and he could play the guitar. And in those days, in the 60s, anybody that could play a guitar to me, like Hendrix,
of course,
Eric Clapton himself, a couple of other artists who, off the top of my head, I can't name for now.
That's fun,
but I was really into guitar music.
Right, okay. I was going to say, was that your field, more guitar rather than a drummer or a vocalist?
Oh, yeah. I mean, before we go on, a big influence, and people probably laugh at this, was the Beatles to me. Mm. They were the first ones that I really got into in a really big way. And even now, I could rattle off hundreds of records and songs of records and all that sort of thing. But I had this genre of rock, progressive, as you say, progressive rock, a group called Yes.
Of course, yeah.
Absolutely superb. Yeah. But I stayed with Eric Clapton because then he got into drugs and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he came out the other end, and he was there's always a debate whether him or Jimi Hendrix were the best or who's the best. It's like having a Rocky Marciano and a Muhammad Ali competition computerized.
I see that, and I can see where the argument comes from that. But surely they're all great. They'll go down as greats, right in time now. But they did different ways of playing the instrument they love. If you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Eric Clapton, Could you compare? No. You have Keith Moon and Phil Collins. Two different types of drummers, but just as excellent as each other.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So there is that.
Yeah.
So Eric Clapton, I mean, you've seen him live plenty of times. Was he the first person you saw live, or who was your first? Can you remember your first gig or your first? I mean,
you're not going to believe it, but my first gig that I can remember was in Berlin, believe it or not, and this was in the 80s, and I went with you, my son, and a guy called Charlie. And we went to see Elton John. And the first person I ever saw live to start everything off was Nick Kershaw.
Oh, no. And that's the reason why I wanted to go, because I was a big fan of Nick Kershaw. I didn't realise that was your first ever live concert.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that. So never in the 60s in the Birmingham.
Never in the 60s.
Excuse me. Oh, wow.
I was tempted to go to, when Brian Jones died, out of the Rolling Stones.
Yes.
They did an open air concert in
Hyde Park. Of course they did, very famous.
And I was very tempted to go down to watch it, but I didn't have the money in those days. But believe it or not, it wasn't until the 80s that I went to my first concert. And I loved every second of it, the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'd never heard of Nick Kershaw, to be quite frank with you.
Well, that's fair.
Elton John, brilliant.
Of course, I mean.
And believe it or not, I've seen him twice since then.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. And the last time was, when I was in Abu Dhabi. That you're talking 2010, 2011. And even then, like he did in the 80s, it wasn't this good evening, I'm Elton John, blah, 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 and he'd play his tune or sing his song and then stop and say, well, the next one I'm going to play is, it was 2.5 hours of pure, non-stop entertainment and skill, and that was at the Berlin concert right up to the Abu Dhabi one. So basically at the end of the day, friends, you got your money's worth. Yes,
I totally I have to agree. I mean, I don't think you don't have to even be a big fan of somebody like him, because he will just roll off hit after hit. They've been there, they've got the t-shirt experience, and I found that when I saw Rod Stewart quite a few years ago, with Phil Davison of all people. He's a big fan. Yeah. I'm not a big Rod Stewart fan, but I found watching something thinking it's hit after hit. It was like, again, 2 hours or whatever. It was just solid. You know what I mean? But I mean, each to their own. Well, that I never knew that. With music like that. Going back to your childhood, was your mum and dad very much into music at all? Can you remember their lives, or
No.
was that? I mean, obviously, '60s was the time where music really kind of exploded onto the scene.
Well,
Radio Luxembourg and that.
No. My mum wasn't into music at all, and obviously I didn't have a dad then because they split up and all that sort of thing.
Yes, yeah.
But no, I mean, I don't know. I don't remember them playing, or I don't remember my mum sitting down and listening to music or whatever. She used to sing a couple of songs when she was over the club when she'd had a couple of beers, which was literally across the road. And that's where I used to sing as well, believe it or not.
Well, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
what kind of songs did you sing?
Believe it or not, they always used to say, "Get Freddie up, let's get entertained." This was a Saturday night. And I used to sing, "If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning." Went all the way through.
Yeah, brilliant.
And the final one goes, "And now I've got a hammer, and I've got a song to sing, and I've got a bell to ring all over the world." And two committee men would say, "Stop! Here's your bell, chunk. Here's your hammer." And they used to fling them at me.
Oh, that's a lovely story. That really is lovely. That is.
I did sing, and people probably laugh at this. One of my favourite songs I used to sing in the '60s was "Those Were the Days" by Mary Hopkins.
God, blimey, you can remember that quite vividly, can you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Aww.
And that's when I first saw my dad, my real dad, having a drink outside, and I was I must have been about, 65, 66, you're looking at both 15, 16. So I used to sneak in round the back, you see.
Yeah.
And the club itself had a long garden, and I remember going out, and this bloke said to me, he said, "Do you know who I am, Fred?" I said, "No." I said, "I'm your dad." I didn't realise that, you know. And then I went back in and started singing all over again and completely forgot all about it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but you know, without taking over the podcast, music, I've always had an interest in music.
Yeah, you have.
I say the '60s were different because I was like the Who.
Yes.
The Hollies.
Yeah.
Jerry and the Pacemakers, who we saw about 4 years ago before he popped his clogs a couple of years ago.
Wow.
And he took a liking to Dawn. Oh, I remember that night. Brilliant. Because what it was, in the place we saw him, we got front row seats, and we were right on the stage. And Dawn put a brandy, and she was drinking brandy in them days, brandy and Coke on the front of the stage. And Jerry went over and picked up the glass and drank Dawn's drink and put it back down again. And then he sang all his Jerry and the Pacemaker songs, famous songs, everything else like that. And at the end, we met in the bar, and this bloke came through. He wasn't Jerry, unfortunately, but it was one of the old Pacemakers. Came through and said, "Jerry sent you this." And what it was a signed CD. And Dawn said, "I don't want the CD, I want my drink back."
Oh, God, I didn't know that. That's
yeah, but I mean, people, you know, like the Hollies, when you want about hit after hit, the number of number ones or the number of tens, you know, top 10 they had was incredible. And
was you a fan of the Hollies, though? Or was it just easy music you can listen to because...
I was a fan of the Hollies, but I was more Beatles.
I was going to say, you said Beatles, Stones. Was that? Are they really not really? No, people always say like Oasis, Blur, Stones, Beatles. I mean, it's always that kind of rivalry type thing.
No, they were the. I did like some of their songs.
Yeah,
like Angie and
of course,
Ruby Tuesday.
Yeah,
and all that, and Let's Spend the Night Together and all that malarkey. But excuse me, but no, I didn't like the Stones very much.
You joined the army, as you said, in '69. Did you listen to much music in the army? Have you got any memories of you being in the armed force of music you like, or on your training camps, or your train, or we spent a lot of our time, as we know, in Cyprus. You know, any memories of music in there? Because also we had BFBS, was the radio station for the forces, if you know what I mean. Even I can't remember that, and it was great. You know, but I mean, I'm going to like 70s now. I suppose when Queen was just coming up through the ranks of music.
I like
because you quite like Queen, didn't you?
But I wasn't too. I don't know. I didn't take to them very well. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, though. Obviously, we're probably the greatest performing group of all time in some respects, you know. But no, Cyprus. I always remember Billy Joel.
Oh dear. Well, the
Yeah,
Innocent Man type thing, or
yeah. No, this song I can't remember his blooming LP. I've got it in the car actually, and I play it every now and again.
Piano Man.
No, he's got I Love You Just the Way You Are on it,
Okay.
and Bottle of Red, Bottle of Wine, do. Stranger.
Oh
That's
right.
it,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm
And
not familiar with that.
and
So
as soon as I put that on the CD in the car, just Cyprus comes flowing back to me for some reason.
I was going to say, does it take you back to the time
Yeah,
of
it
that?
definitely takes me time. And you know what? I don't know why. I really don't know
But that's the
why.
thing about music, though, isn't it? I mean, you know, we've had conversations. I've had conversations with people, and the big sense is that music is quite powerful because it didn't matter if you didn't even like the song. You remember what you were doing at that particular time with that song, you know, or that album came out. I thought I remember that so well because of that era. I mean, is there any, you know, a typical desert island situation where you have to like take an album with you? Is there one album you think, no, you does not get better than that? Every single track is good, you know, which is your favourite? If you've got one particular one, you know, it doesn't matter who it's from. I know you're a big fan of Eric Clapton, could one of his. Well, could it be one? No, is there one particular album you think, no, that is the creme de la creme to me? This is, you know,
If I was allowed to take two,
you take as many as you like, you know,
I'd
because I
take
mean,
24 Nights by Eric,
yes, I
certainly,
was going to say, yeah, the live
and
one.
Sergeant Pepper.
Oh, would you?
Oh,
Why Sergeant Pepper?
because it's probably one of the most outstanding LPs, as we used to call them in those days, of all time. It's got so much variation because they're not just singing away there, blah, blah, blah. You got experimentation on there. You got George Harrison with his music.
Yes, it was.
And
Yeah,
it's just the
yeah.
way that they sang not about, well, they sang about love and everything else, but they sang about different things like Lovely Rita Meter Maid, I'm Leaving Home. And what's the one? For the Benefit of Mr. Kite. Now, who would sing about a circus?
Yeah, and kind of get away with it and make it an
Well,
interesting
yeah, but
psychedelic
it was
kind of
brilliant. And it was
yeah.
probably, excuse me, probably one of the greatest albums of all time. Now, excuse me, I can hear all the 18, 19-year-olds and me grandkids going, what a load of rubbish you are, granddad, but different eras.
No, but yeah, but you say that, which I do. I see where you come from, where the generations come from. But I even think the generation nowadays, like, you know, my children, your grandchildren, obviously, they'll always know the Beatles, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They'll know who likes Eric Clapton. And the albums like Sgt. Pepper's is a classic album.
Oh, classic.
It's the Rumours of Fleetwood Mac, you know what I mean? It's
Deep
the Dark Side of the Moon by the Pink Floyd. You know, these albums around the world, like Thriller by Michael Jackson. Like it or loathe it, they're there. They're going to be timeless.
Oh, yes.
Sgt. Pepper is definitely the top 10 in there. It'll go down for generation.
I'd say top 5 then, my boy.
You put it quite right, yeah.
The Who live at Leeds.
Yeah, of course, yes. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, it's a classic album.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Who as well. When I was
I didn't realise you liked him as such as that. To be honest with you, I know you're that kind of mod culture.
When they first started out with Substitute and that sort of thing, always reminds me of where's Dawn. No, seriously, it reminds me of when I used to go to Aston Park which is a local park, literally just round the corner from where I lived, and mucking around with some of the younger girls, not physically, but
just hanging out,
having
fun,
trying to watch the Villa play a good game of football. Yeah, but there was always that music about, like 1966 when England won the World Cup. I'll always remember a girl called Beverly Capewell, and she was my first love. And Black is Black, believe it or not, was out by the Rolling Stones.
Oh, of course it was, yes.
And she loved the Rolling Stones, and we used to fall out quite regular about it. But when I hear that now, I can vividly remember a couple of days before the World Cup final was played, we were a sunny afternoon in Aston Park, and Painted Black, not Black is Black, my apologies.
Oh, Black and Black, AC/DC, isn't it?
Yeah, this is I Painted Black. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was, to me, 60s and the early 70s were the happiest music days that I've had.
Oh, is it really? Oh, that's
Yeah, believe it or
interesting.
not. And that's why I've got so much respect and love for Eric Clapton.
Yeah.
He's been there since the 60s. I mean, I'm off to see him in May, and he'll be just turned 80, and he's staying the course. Phil Collins, God bless him. So I've seen him a couple of times, but he's ill now. He's very bad.
Yeah.
You know, but people like that have stood the test of time.
Yeah. Oh, bless. That's interesting that way. I mean, is there anything like you've been to concerts and that? Is there anybody who you'd like to have seen live, who's either past, present, or in the future? You know, I mean, you've seen Eric Clapton. Would you like to see, like, I know your brother's a massive Queen fan. He saw Queen more times than a hot dinner. Would you like to see Queen? You know, is there any artist when you think I'd love to have seen them live? I'm guessing one of them could be in the Who for you.
Oh, definitely the Who.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the Queen. I'd love to see Queen. I'd love to have seen Frank Sinatra live.
Oh, would you? Yeah.
That's another one of my all-time favourites.
Is it right?
I love Clapton. How can we? I love Frank Sinatra.
Okay, explain why.
You know, I don't know.
How did you hear about him?
I just liked his voice again.
Yeah.
And the music that he did with Porter. I got a couple of CDs of his knocking around somewhere, and I like the Rat Pack.
Oh, like Sammy Davis.
That was
Sammy Davis Jr.
Davis Jr.
Yeah, and Dean Martin. Is it Dean
that's
Martin?
it. A long wine drinker, me, Dean. They got distinct voices.
Yes,
but Frankie, I remember 1972. I was posted to Winchester.
Right.
And in those days, we used to live in what we call spiders, and it was like a long Nissen hut, and in the middle was an old metal thing where you put your wood and your coal and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But next to there was the troop corporal, and his name was Dave Foley, and he used to play the guitar, and he could have turned professional when he was in Liverpool.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
One night I came home from the pub on my own. I sat on my bed, and he said, "Rick," do you want to come and have a listen to something and we'll watch something decent for a change?" And it was Frank Sinatra live, and he was introduced by the Princess Grace.
Oh, wow.
Of Monaco.
Of Monaco, yeah.
And he did this concert, and it was absolutely dog's ghoulies.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely brilliant. And I would love to have seen him in concert. You know, I'd have paid
whatever it takes.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Just like Eric.
Yeah, of course.
But I mean, obviously Eric's my favourite of all time, but Frank Sinatra, I'd love to have seen Robbie Williams. I'd like to see
Robbie Williams.
Robbie Williams. Now, I don't know whether I'd like to see him now because he's getting on a bit and he's a bit more mature. But I'd like to have seen him when he left Take That.
I can honestly say, Dad, I've seen him with Karen 3 times.
You're going to say he's crap, aren't you?
No, he is, and what I'm saying is, to us, I mean, entertainment-wise, he's absolutely brilliant. 3 times we've seen him, he puts on a show. He's got the audience in the palm of his hand.
Yeah,
he's brilliant. Yeah. He's absolutely brilliant. I mean, I love the film he's just done called Better Man. You know what I mean?
I've seen the advertised.
Yeah, and it's really worth watching it. Now, where I'm going to here, if you ever watch it, and he's very much brought up in that blues thing. His dad was very much a singer with a Frank Sinatra. And Robbie Williams did these albums, Swing While You're Winning.
Oh, mate.
And he's done a tour with them albums, and
I'd love to
and the Albert Hall and that. And that, straight away, I think if you had a chance, oh God, I didn't realise you liked that much. For you to go and see him do them, I think you'll say, that's a young Frank. Because he was absolutely, sounds like, and it's so good albums, as you obviously know.
We've got his DVD,
right? Oh,
and his CD, and I've in Abu Dhabi used to play no end.
I didn't realise that. Wow,
because absolutely superb. Love to have seen him.
Yeah,
and obviously Frank Sinatra. I would like to have seen Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Oh, would you?
Oh yeah.
I've heard of them, but I'm not that familiar. Wow, explain that. Wow.
Bad Moon Rising.
God,
You
I
know,
didn't.
oh yeah. I mean, they were a brilliant group, but they only lasted a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, I think.
Yeah.
Although the music like Proud Mary and that's still going.
I'm not that. I'm familiar with the band.
Yeah.
But so how did you hear about them? Or just one of them that.
Just one of those things.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that one. Yeah. You know, and I tell you what, you know, Marvin Gaye's "I Heard You Through the Grapevine."
Yeah, oh yeah, another classic album.
Another classic album.
Yes, absolutely.
But they do a version of it, and it goes on for about 8 or 9 minutes, and it is absolutely superb.
God,
and I can't remember what album it's on.
Yeah, oh no, we'll have to. Well, after this, we'll look on Spotify. And I'll tell you, correct me if I'm wrong. You may like, and I'm sure you do like, because my wife thinks he's boring and can't stand it. And a lot of people think he'd love it. Leonard Cohen.
Oh man!
Oh, I know. I just thought that because I thought, and I swear, I think I may have heard from Leonard. And I like Leonard Cohen a lot.
Yeah,
it was somebody from work. It was Barbara from work who got me. And I think he's brilliant. And I remember the time I think you loved him. You like him, but fantastic. That Hallelujah song goes on for verse after verse. It goes on for like 9, whatever.
Suzanne.
Oh yeah, I mean, I agree. Suzanne's great. Bird on a Wire. I think he did a few like that. Oh. Let's start.
I never bought any of his albums.
No.
Once again, it's the voice.
Yes, really good. Oh, God, that's fantastic.
In fact, I've been watching. There is a documentary about. It's a film doc where somebody plays Leonard Cohen.
Okay.
And I can't remember what it's called. Can I help? And it was really, really good the way he came through.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise he wasn't French.
No, he's Canadian.
He's Canadian.
He's Canadian. Yeah, he's Canadian. Yes, that's right.
I thought, he's French. No, he's not. He's Canadian. One for me quiz.
Oh God.
And go on.
No, you go. A female artist, any female artist you like. I mean, it's any like you kind of thought. Even up to the present day, I know, like
I used to like in the 60s. A girl called Dusty Springfield.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. She originated from a group called the Springfields, and she left them. They were brothers and sisters. She left them and went solo. Kathy Kirby, another one I can remember. And
I would interrupt one thing. I remember we used to go to Larnaca in Cyprus, mid-80s time. You should be able to buy the latest album on cassette, like pre-recorded.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember you used to get it? And I remember, I don't know why, correct me if I'm wrong, you remember getting a tape of Tina Turner's Private Dancer.
That's right, yeah.
Am I correct? I kind of remember that.
Right, yeah,
and used to play that quite a lot.
Yeah,
I used to get like Drown Ones, whatever. And I remember using a selection of Private Dancer, just brings like a memory to Calia and Larnaca. And
yeah, I remember buying Private Dancer. Going back, that's somebody else I'd like to have seen in concert.
Yes, I bet. Yes, again, I mean, wow.
Dire Straits.
Yeah, they're good.
I'd love to have seen Dire Straits in concert.
Well, didn't you see them recently? You know, a tribute band to them who were. Explain. Were they as good as if you were into them eyes closed?
If you closed your eyes, you would think it was them.
Yeah, was that good? Was it?
Yeah, and I know a lot of people don't like tribute bands because some of them can be absolute. I want me blooming money back. That crap.
Yeah, yeah.
But I saw a Yes tribute. They were brilliant. I've seen Dire Straits tribute. They were absolutely fantastic. And I'll tell you something that I took Dawn down to see was Mike Oldfield's 50th anniversary of Tubular Bells.
We discussed it yesterday.
And I remember buying Mike Oldfield Tubular Bells because I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And I didn't think Dawn would like it. And she said, what a concert.
Oh, really?
Absolutely brilliant. And the great thing about it was we were in a hotel, and this was in Poole at the, what's that place they call it? The concert place.
Oh, the Lighthouse.
Yeah, the Lighthouse.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
well, opposite there, there's a Holiday Inn or something like that.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Of course, I know.
And 3 or 4 of the crew who played were staying there.
Oh, were they? Okay.
And there's a woman who played a bass guitar all the way through the night, up throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Especially that bit where it goes into the bass guitar on the actual song itself. You can't call it a song, really.
No.
But she was having breakfast. She's come up to the coffee stall. I said, "Excuse me, were you playing last night at the so and so?" She said, "Yeah." Did you were the bass guitarist? Yep. Jack Bruce, eat your heart out. She was that good.
Was she really?
She was absolutely fantastic, in my opinion.
Yeah, of course.
But Mike Oldfield did a couple of things, and that was it. But I did love Tubular Bells.
It was a classic anthem. Pop trivia: what film used the Tubular Bells music?
That would be The Exorcist.
Oh yes, yeah. No, just random thing. I thought I know it's good. Yeah. Oh, excellent. That's really good. Is there any songs that when you there's a morbid note really, but I always like to ask, what song would you have played at your funeral?
What would I play at my funeral?
Yeah.
Going In, Cocaine by Eric Clapton.
Fair shout. Classic,
don't ask me why, I just love it.
Fair. No, don't. Yeah.
And on the way out, when they put me through the curtains, Peter Cook and Dudley Moore.
Oh, would you?
Goodbye.
Would you really? Oh,
now is the time to say goodbye. Goodbye. Now is the time to hear a sigh. Hear it. Now is the time to wend our ways until we meet again some sunny day. Goodbye. I'm leaving you. Goodbye.
That's absolutely really quite emotionally brilliant, really. You know what I mean? That says everything. The comical duo of them, and a very appropriate thing of finishing your thing like that.
Coming on a high and go out on a high.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. Do you listen to much music nowadays, really, or is it much? Really. You don't, do you?
Tell you, one of my best concerts I saw as well was. He's also got Parkinson's. Sweet Caroline singing.
Oh, Neil Diamond. Oh, you did, didn't you? I remember you telling me.
Him.
You saw us really good, didn't you? Was it the O2?
I think it was the O2.
It doesn't matter anyway, but I remember thinking you went to the O2.
Dion.
Oh, you did, didn't you? Yeah.
And the opening, like Nick Kershaw did for Elton John, Mike and the Mechanics did it for Celine Dion.
Oh, God, I bet that's a good support band, wouldn't it? I bet they were great.
See, Genesis, another group I like.
I liked it, yeah.
But I thought the lead singer...
what, of Mike and Mechanics?
No, of Genesis.
The original lead singer?
Yeah.
Peter Gabriel?
Yeah, I thought he was a bit mad towards the end.
Yeah, well, he's a bit, he used to wear the costumes, but he was that part of the prog 70s Genesis. That was him. The Lamb Lies on Broadway, I believe, or that kind of thing,
But then he sang it's a song at the end of a film, and I can't remember the name of the film, where him and Kate Bush sing
Don't Give Up.
That's the one, yeah.
Classic. That's a good record.
Oh dear.
You like Kate Bush, don't you?
Yeah.
You do, yes. Lionheart, is there any tape of hers? Lionheart, or maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I can't remember.
Dawn's the real Kate Bush song. The knowledgeable person, but I do like Kate Bush. I'd like to have seen her. When she came out about 3 or 4 years ago.
She didn't. She got several.
Everything was sold out.
Oh, which is bound to because she never tours, and it's iconic.
I'd like to have seen her. Brilliant.
Oh, brilliant stuff.
But go on.
No, you carry on.
I'll say some of the 60s stuff. When I was in Cyprus for the first time, I went to a place called Dhofar.
Right.
In the Middle East.
Yeah.
In Oman.
Yeah.
When there was a war going on. And I took with me, I thought to myself, how am I going to keep myself occupied when I'm on days off and all that sort of malarkey? Led Zeppelin.
Wow.
Oh, I would give my right thing if to go and see them.
Would you?
I really would.
A particular song? I mean, they've got classics.
Anything.
Kashmir, Stairway to Heaven,
Kashmir, anything of them.
Really?
Yeah. I think Robert Plant, who's a Birmingham born and bred lad, another one I got to remember as well. And the lead guitarist, brilliant, superb. And also, I wish I had like a dream come true. About 6 years ago, they have a concert in the park in Hyde Park.
Who?
Well, in fact, it was you that told me about it. They have this concert, and I had to. I stayed overnight at this place called the Union Jack Club for next.
Right. Yes. Ex-service. Yeah.
And I remember you saying, "Dad, they've got to be out by 10 o'clock. You've got to go home, okay?" But beside the point.
Oh God. Yes.
Yeah, but besides, there was lots and lots going on. Chaz and Dave were on, believe it or not.
Who were they?
They were on a separate stage. But round the corner, where I absolutely wet myself, Eric Clapton. Bearing in mind this was only for about 80 quid. Eric Clapton, Santana.
Oh, of course you like him, yeah, guitar,
and
yeah, of course, yeah.
Stevie Winwood.
Oh God, yes, yeah,
Oh,
yes, yeah.
man.
To you, that's like it doesn't get better than that, does it? Of course it doesn't. No, of course.
No.
Yeah, I remember that now. Yes,
Oh,
I was concerned that you have to get back all right. Yeah.
I saw Santana in the UAE as well when I was.
Oh,
there.
did you?
Yeah, and Lionel Richie.
You've seen quite a few bands when you come to think of it now, haven't you? Really, since that time in '88 when we at the Deutschland Haare, it wasn't Berlin. We saw Nick Kershaw, Elton John.
That's right.
That's why
yeah.
kind of aim a bit.
You also obviously have seen Eric Clapton.
You went with Mum, Cliff Richard.
Yeah. Remember Cliff Richard? Yeah.
Was he good? Honestly, I mean,
he was good.
I bet he was in it. I mean, that was 88, 89 time, I think it was. I bet he was quite entertaining.
He was very good. He was very good. But there's one classic singer, the blind guy. I can't remember his bloody name.
Not Stevie.
No, opera singer, classic bloke.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I know. Jose. No, not Jose.
No.
Yeah.
But me.
I know exactly who you're on about anyway. Yeah. I'm sure my listeners will do.
You heard me mention Colin and Eileen Kershaw.
Yes.
Me and Colin went to see this guy.
Yes.
Mate, blew me pants off. Absolutely superb.
And that's opera type thing,
That's
isn't
opera.
it?
You see, I like everything, but I can't get into this rap malarkey, and I can't get into this new genre of Harry Styles and One Direction and all that. It just do nothing for me at all.
No, I kind of get that, especially because of the age you are. There's absolutely no disrespect to your age. I kind of get that because I suppose at the time, people like your mum and dad or your stepdad at the time were looking at the Beatles thinking, what on earth is this racket? You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure every generation's got that. Yeah. I mean, as I've got older, as you know, I love my music and I appreciate a lot of the music that's coming out nowadays. Not necessarily it's my cup of tea, but I understand why. I talk to my children, Jordan's 19, for example, so he's literally a teenager, and he likes similar stuff. And I'm thinking, okay, I get it why you like it. But if I was your age, I probably would like it as well. But my music, horizons are broadened a lot more, and I appreciate and understand why they are big. But music is not like it was then. Technology's changed a lot of things.
It does,
To me, and I'm sure you agree, and I'm sure some of my listeners know as well that there's nothing more exciting, I thought, going into a record shop and buying the actual 7-inch the black record, and taking it home, and even when CDs come out, putting the CD on. And listen to it on the radio, like we said earlier on about recording. Nowadays, we could just finish this, get on our phones, or go on Spotify and play a song. A new album comes out this Friday. I'll listen to it on Friday. It's the way it is. We're stuck in that warp, but we all wish. But I get it, and and so music's always going to change that. And my children or your grandchildren are going to think to their kids, what on earth are you listening to? So I get it, and I've never been into soul music really, and not soul music, but the Beyonce's of the world. It's just it's just not my cup of tea. It's massive. It's I'm not a country western person. I don't like that, but it's huge. And I kind of get it to the right people, but not to me.
Not to me. No, it's not.
But I think that's where in some ways we're kind of similar. That we got different. We'll listen to anything. You went to see the pub. Not that we're going to have to find out who this person is who's blind. What I'm saying is, you like your rock, and you've done this. You've seen the pop and that. We even went to see Duran Duran together.
No.
being from Birmingham and all that.
Actually, I've been thinking about that. That was one of the best concerts I'd been to.
I remember you saying,
because it was, once again, it was pure entertainment.
Mm.
And although I didn't know half the songs, it was the entertainment, and it was live. And there was none of this background sing.
Yeah,
and I'm still trying to remember this opera singer.
I know, we're going to have to find out. Listeners, if you know this opera singer that we're talking about, he's blind, he's absolutely superb, just DM me, because I'm sure we're going to... They'll message me.
Technology.
And find out. And I know tonight I'll remember it, and I'll have to add on to the end of the podcast, but it's got it,
God, what was his name? Because a lot of people have him and Celine Dion singing together.
Oh, right,
the final goodbye when they're at the funerals. I know it's a morbid thing to talk about.
No,
but at the funerals, what's his name? But yeah.
Anyway, Dad, I could go on for hours with this.
I could.
But I have to but it's been really lovely, and I find it so fascinating, especially your 60s, 70s, what you listen to then, and you come from Birmingham and so much, Aston area particularly, and the connection, I suppose, I'm really, I like Dran, as you know, heavily. They're from Birmingham. You're from Birmingham. There's always something there, just pure coincidental, of course, but this has been really incredible. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I thank you for your time for doing it. And anytime we have to do a part 2 or something, because I think it'd be fantastic.
Me and my son would like to go out on one of our favourite ones. Dun, 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 dun. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, all. Until next time. Cheers. Thank you.